I've seen he came in as he was a Democrat at first, and then he's a Republican, and he did follow the conservative platform really well. There are some things that weren't so kosher.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of, it's not coming to mind at the moment. I want to say like gay rights or something, but like that doesn't kosher with the conservatives. Not that it doesn't kosher with me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Trump was never really a Republican.
No.
He just had to be one because
You had to
he
be
knew
one
the
of the two
Democrats.
parties.
Well, he knew that the Democrats were fucking crazy. So he was like, I'm not going to run there. And he was, if anything, more Democratic or Libertarian. But he was just presented as a Republican because there's only two parties. But when you look at someone like Trump, man, like I said, I remember, I sent this video to a friend of mine who knows I'm a Trump supporter, and he's a leftist, and we always have little discussions. And the video that I did is on my YouTube where I talk about Trump, like the day after he got into office, and I did it was like a 20-minute video, like talking about biblically, because what I thought about Trump was what the media was telling me at the time, right? So what I was hearing at the time was, if Trump becomes president, Mexicans and blacks and all you freaking minorities are going to be killed, or like that.
Yeah.
That's what was being told to me.
Oh yeah.
And so when he got in, I was like, oh shit. In the Bible, I was thinking to myself, that's like Nebuchadnezzar, man. Like when Nebuchadnezzar came in and took over Israel and the Jewish people. Like, so I was just reading a lot of the Old Testament, and so I did this video talking about it because it was like, all right, there's a reality here that we got to grapple with, in that this guy may be a dictator. And if that comes, right, I don't know if you know who Dietrich Bonhoeffer is, but he is a German who came to America, and then when he was in America, Hitler came to rise, and he was one of the guys who tried to kill Hitler. But he was also a Christian and a pastor. And so he's somebody who I admire. So when Trump came into office, I was like, damn, am I going to have to, like, Bonhoeffer this? Like, is there going to be a war that I'm going to have to go into and fight for? Because that's what the media was making me feel. But then after, you know how it is, once you start seeing the video clips in their context and you see the media twisting things, you're like, wait, what? He's not what you're portraying him to be. So what ended up happening was the Democrats actually became the Republicans, and these extreme left took on the cloak of being the Democrats. And that's why with Trump, I don't think he's really Republican, because not even the Republicans really like him. I think he's more libertarian, but I don't. Nobody's gonna vote for a libertarian guy except for Rand Paul, maybe.
Well, 1%, maybe up to 7% will vote. Brandon, will you find, while you're back there, the electoral election episode? I think it may be like episode 16 or something in that area. And if you scroll to the part where I make my speech about Trump, because back then I was not for Trump. I actually was like, he's not going to become the president.
Yeah.
Like, fucking loser,
Yeah.
grabbing pussies and shit. Like, come on. Like, yeah, we're going to have a woman president, and we're all going to be stoked by it. And Andy at the time, who was very Republican.
Great guy, nice voice.
Great guy. Wonderful guy. I like him a lot. He's a great guy. You've seen him?
Yes.
Of course you've seen him. But yeah, he kept touting Trump. Oh, Trump train, woo woo, get on that train. The Trump train, woo woo.
Oh man, he knew right away.
And that episode where he's gonna try to pull up there if he can is us watching the electoral happen at that time.
Do you know about how far into it is?
It's going to be in the beginning of the episode, because I started it up and then it starts off with all the presidents' names, like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson.
Talk
He
about,
wasn't that president.
let's see, we're going to check.
Then it went Donald Trump. It sounds weird, right? Because back then, no one thought that was going to happen.
Our resident friend.
But anyways,
and, my co-host,
we'll play that here in a
so
second.
they're separated
But
just by
this will show you
25
where I
points.
was at the time, because I was open enough to go, I will give this dude a chance because he won the election fair and square, unlike the last guy that just won.
Yeah.
But I was willing to give him a chance.
But who did you vote for between Trump and Hillary?
I didn't. I voted for Stein.
Okay. And so look at that swing to where you're like, this guy's a fucking idiot, to you voted for him.
Well, the same thing goes with sort of your story. It's like the stuff he was telling me. I remember my mom, I found out that she was a Republican in 2016, and she was going to vote for Donald Trump. And I go, why would you vote for him? Like, he's a sexist pig. Like, everything that you've heard that leftists will tell you about Donald Trump, that's what I was saying about Donald Trump, because that's what I was told. I was an idiot that didn't seek out actual media, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, don't you know he's racist? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, he hates brown people. And she's all like, when has he ever said that? Like, show it to me. And I was like, well, okay.
Oh, she said, show me the docs.
I'd like to see the documents. And so anyways, I was like looking for it, and that's when you start doing a little bit more research. You see the stories. So there was this one thing where he was talking about the Supreme Court judge that he was going to replace, and he didn't want it to be this one guy because he was Mexican. That's what he said. He was like, oh, because he's Mexican, right? And it was because he wants the wall to be done. He knows that guy is a leftist judge, and he's also Mexican, so therefore he's not going to be for the wall that I want to build. But out of context, it's like you think he's just because he's a brown guy. And so it's like, because he's brown. And so that was evidence for me. That's evidence. So what do you got to say about that? And that's when I also learned Supreme Court justices are seen as ultra biased people.
Yeah, big time.
And they're not supposed to. I mean, I'm like, I didn't understand that at the time. I'm like, wait a minute, but they're judges.
Right.
Yeah.
They're the highest judges in the world. Why do they even have a bias in the first
They're
place?
under
They should be
oath.
the
They're
most
under oath.
unbiased.
Why would they,
Exactly.
you know?
They should be the most unbiased of all, because they've shown themselves to judge impartially, to say, I'm judging on the facts, not on the people.
And when you see, and then you start looking at all their decisions in the last 4 years, you go, holy shit. Like, the Republican ones, or the ones that are seen as right, they vote on both sides. They're like on the dissent. They're on their for, you know?
Yeah.
But all the Sotomayor, fucking Ginsburg or whatever her name was, they always voted for the left no matter what. They never went one side or the other. At least, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have that yet, Brendan? He's still looking for it. He's got his earbuds in. He's listening for it. But yeah, that's something I learned about Supreme Court justices, how biased that they actually seem. And then you saw the Blasey Ford. But the point I'm getting with here is that as if anyone did this research and like at least saw other things that weren't clipped by CNN or something, you can get into the Charlottesville thing. And he's like, there's great people on both sides, and then they stop, and then they go, well, he's fucking talking about the Nazis. He's for the Nazis, and you just keep letting that clip play, and you go, oh, he's not talking about the Nazis. He says he condemns them. And that just keeps, that's today. It's still fucking being said today. Oh, he thinks there's good on both sides. What the fuck?
Biden was using that line in his speeches when he would talk bad about Trump.
Yeah.
He would quote that.
I mean, Psaki just told everybody that Trump was telling people to inject bleach into them like last week or something.
Yeah, they keep fucking throwing
It's like,
these
how
things.
are they even allowed to say this? How is she even allowed? This should not be allowed.
Yeah, this is representative of the American people, what she is saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's an embarrassment.
Yeah, it's insane that she gets to do this and say things like this that are 100% inaccurate.
And it makes like, see, like, this is the division that I keep like hearing about. It's like, she is like so good at like being a bitch.
Yeah. And all the people on the left, on the hard left, are cheering. They're like,
They fucking love
he
it.
did do that. He did say that.
So think about
and
this,
I
though.
was right to say that to my friend, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're emboldened by that shit.
Right, yeah.
But it's like they'd say, oh, well, don't you think Trump emboldens the far right? You're like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
So, like, Hitler had a dog. You know, it's the same kind of theory. It's like, okay, just because, you know, and then you throw that right back at them with Richard Spencer. You go, you know, Richard Spencer voted for her? He voted for Biden. He said he endorses Biden.
Yep.
So what is that supposed to mean?
What was he, like, leader of the KKK or some shit like that?
No, he's just a white nationalist asshole who's for sending blacks back to Africa.
It's just every connection to Biden is not good.
Yeah.
It's just not good. Even these guys that came out on the, like, I don't remember, what was it, like something, and he was doing like a virtual chat with this kid who was like in college or something, and then it later turned out that they raided his room or somewhere, and he had a bunch of like child porn or no, he was like sending like messages to like a 15-year-old, and they found these texts and pictures and stuff. Some guy that was talking like during the vote, like it was like during the election, like right before, and they had all these, you know, different things going on. I don't know.
Wow.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I heard of that.
But he was doing like a virtual with this kid, telling about how he's going to be helping him once he becomes president. He's, I'm voting for Biden for this, and encouraging people to vote. And then it turned out that he was like found, some like text messages to like a 15-year-old kid and like pictures and stuff. And it's like there's so many, but I'm saying there's so many ties.
Oh, absolutely.
It was him taking a picture of him.
Oh, okay.
And
that's a whole different story.
And
You're like,
sending it to a 15-year-old kid and asking the kid like to send him pictures back and like this kind of thing. But there have been a few connections with like sexual, like child stuff to connected to Biden.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, I mean,
including all of his things.
Well, not just that. His own son, Hunter. Look at the fucking laptop. He was joking on Jimmy Kimmel about fucking sniffing Parmesan cheese because he thought it was crack or cocaine.
That's hilarious.
You know, it is. It's fucking funny.
This is the world that we're in.
I've smoked more Parmesan cheese than anybody in the world.
But that's what I mean. It's you don't have to go far from the Biden tree to find something bad. It's his own fucking son who is an embarrassment to his father. And there's a laptop that the media was saying was fake and it was Russian disinformation, and now it's everywhere that it's his. And there's so much shit on there that's disgusting. And what do you do? What do you do with that? Just say, oh, but it's okay because what?
There's like literal pictures of children and him with naked, holding a kid by their wrist, or there's actual photos of this stuff going on.
Okay, so why is nothing happening?
Exactly. Why did he just have? He's doing these fucking crackhead blow paintings where he's blowing in a straw.
You can't trace the
paint spread. And
you can't
trace the money.
Spread.
You don't know who's paying him for this art.
He just had like a huge gallery thing, and all of these leaders and like higher up people are going to there, and they're like, how do we know that he's not they're not trying, this is like a political thing. Somebody asked Psaki, I think today, at one of their press conferences, about how are we supposed to, is this okay? Is this should this be allowed where he can have these events where these leaders and people are coming to them and mingling with him and saying things to him, and because his dad is the president.
No, it's not that bad of a thing that he rides his daddy's coattails. All the rich kids do it, and as much as we hate it, that's what they'll do. But this is right after we heard about all that Russia stuff, where he's not even Russia, but he was introducing his dad to foreign leaders or whatever and getting paid for it, right? And then that all comes out, but then the money hasn't come in or whatever, right? This is how he's able to collect the money.
Yeah.
All right, we need to collect the money. They're on to us on that. We need to find another way. And they're like,
make paintings.
Make paintings. It's
this
fine
is how they're
art.
Washing the money.
This is how do you this is money laundering 101.
Right.
Create shitty art, make a big fuss out of it, get it in a gallery, and then have an anonymous donor pay $5 million for this.
Right,
because
and really it's a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Or something.
Whatever the fuck it is.
Some adrenochrome.
But here's the thing. I was hearing all the same kind of stuff about Trump 4 years ago, and how much we would, or I wasn't doing at the time, but defending, you would go, oh, you grabbed pussies. He's grabbing pussies, woman pussies. How do you feel about that? And you're like, well, he wasn't president when he said that. Yeah. People defending him, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's not good. But you hear a lot of this, it's not really good, but,
Yeah.
Still gonna vote for him, right? Why? Well, because Hillary's a criminal. Well, obviously she is, and where's all that money from the Clinton Foundation for Haiti? But that's a whole other fucking.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Everything is literally everything that involves.
The Clinton Foundation is the fucking the black hole of fucking conspiracy theories, man.
Yeah. Well, we did Clinton body count at one point, back with Nick Ryder. Is that clip not pulling up?
Man, I listened through that whole episode and I couldn't find what you were talking about.
It's like the beginning of the episode.
It's not. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Is it episode? What is it? The electoral college episode?
Yeah, it's episode 9. This isn't good radio, but yeah, it's. I don't know.
Whatever.
This isn't good radio.
It's the last episode.
I don't know what I'm looking for.
Well, anyways.
I'll take your word for it, though.
You told us a pretty good story about it.
Well, I think it.
I felt like I was there.
And to hear Andy go man, I'm proud of you, man. You start to see the light kind of thing. And it's no, I'm seeing light, so I'm going to give the man a chance because I'm an honest person, and the slate gets wiped clean, you know? And the same thing goes when, like, with Ted Cruz, you know? Like, I didn't know about him or anything, but he was going up against Beto. And Beto said, hell yeah, well, I want to take your guns. And I was like, well, fuck no, you're not going to take my guns.
God, he's such an idiot.
Yeah.
And then he thinks he's going to run, like...
Well, let's not underestimate that guy. He barely lost to Ted Cruz. And that was back before people started mail-in balloting.
Yeah.
And God knows they're going to go out there in droves
Yep.
and vote. So don't be too sure that he's going to lose.
Oh, look.
Don't be too sure he's going to fucking lose, because he may just fucking win, and hell yeah, he'll take your... I don't know if he'll take your guns. I don't think he can do that. But it's... People think Abbott's doing, like, a terrible job. And, I mean, I can't really think of anything really shitty he's done.
Yeah.
But I do hear a lot of, like, people hate him for the, you know, the abortion stuff or whatever. But, like, that's none of my business. That's a woman's issue. But I still think it's murder. So that's what I'll say about it.
Yeah. Well...
Can't have a bunch of men fighting over it when it's, like, women that should be the ones fighting for it.
I hear people...
Quality, motherfucker.
I hear people talk about shit like that, and it, you know, but the frustrating part is that I don't find people who are willing to have a conversation over it. Like, okay, you don't like Abbott. Why? Don't just say because...
It's Republican. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, but when they don't see that themselves, right? I want to help them through that, for them to see, hey, you are being biased. Like, because that's what they claim about us so much of the time. They say, oh, you're unbiased. What you listen to, what you watch, it's all unbiased. Like, that's who you are. But then they don't look at themselves and say, hey, am I being biased?
Oh, they think they're so objective.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. It's to have a conversation is always what I'm willing to do with them. But right when you come in with your facts and your documents, your reasoning, they quickly run away because they don't know, because they really don't have any information to back them up other than headline articles, and that's about it. You know what I mean? And that's the frustrating part, is when you're willing to have a conversation, but they're not, and they're just pointing the finger and yelling at you.
Well, there's no, like, conversation to be had anymore, because people aren't changing their minds over
Yeah.
conversations anymore.
Yeah.
No, where they're changing their mind is when they get to reflect on things that they hear or watch, and the problem is that they're not exposed to anything opposing their views that they like now. Luckily for us on, like, the right side of history, or the right side of the aisle rather, is that the media we consume is full of clips from the left of how they're saying things and whatnot. And I don't know what it's like on the left. I'm sure what they do is they grab, like, the most out of context thing, but I also believe that's what they think about right-leaning media. Yeah. Because I'm on the right now, and I've said it. I'm biased at this point. I'm biased because I've seen it all. I came from that side, and we're on the right now. Yeah. But I'm only on the right because they pushed me away from the middle. Because I've always been libertarian. I just didn't realize I was libertarian. I thought I was liberal. You know, I was a bleeding heart. Oh, I care about people, Muslims. Oh, they're regular people.
You don't think Muslims are regular people?
Oh no, they're fake. They're fake people. No.
Fake people.
They're Sandy Hook?
I just remember, like, my grandpa, because he was very MAGA, super MAGA, and he would be posting, like, these things about, like,
too. My grandpa
like, he would be posting these things about how, like, the hijab, like, you don't know what's under that, right? It's like, you don't know what's under that. That could be a guy fucking ready to bomb somebody, right? I was like, you fucking intolerant motherfucker. That's a religious freedom. I thought you were a patriot of this fucking country. If they want to wear a fucking bunch of bandanas all over their face, you should let them. Yeah. And he was, like, real MAGA. He never responded back to anything. So he was smart. He just posted memes.
So
and shit.
I feel like I'm real MAGA too, but I don't act like that. I would say he's like too right.
But he's also, how old is he?
He's dead now, but he's a boomer.
Oh, so
not even a boomer. He's older than a boomer. Like he's.
So he had his.
Yeah. Well, he's also a 32nd degree Mason. Freemason. Do you know that?
Do you have any of his books?
He had the handshake.
I don't, but I talked to him. I learned this when my sister got married.
Anything of his?
I didn't even know.
His paper writing.
I did not know about this. He died last year. I don't know. I don't think it was from COVID, but it was during COVID when he died. He always had, like, problems with his back or something. But when he told me that, it was a few years ago. It was on my sister's wedding, and that's when all the family got together, and he told me all this stuff. And I was like,
what did he say?
Well, he just told me that he's a 32nd degree Mason. I go, oh, does that mean, like, you're in the secret society? What does that mean? Why you got one more to go? You know, what does that mean? And I go, how can I join? He goes, all you have to do is just walk up and fucking knock on the door, and you're in. Like, that's it. there's no secret society that people think it's this and that. He never like, he was real cool. They know not to say things, so I don't know. He went to the grave with it, but he lives in California, or used to live in California. I guess he's forever there now. But yeah, I haven't even heard of a funeral. I think they're like, because of California, we can't even have a gathering.
Yeah, that's true. California's super restricted.
Yeah. Did you hear that Gavin Newsom helped assist his mom with one of those assisted suicide things?
What?
Can you believe that?
Yes, I can.
I mean, you can believe it.
Yeah, I can. Wait, he paid for it, or he like did it himself?
Well, he didn't actually do it, but he like helped his mom get the assisted the doctor that would do that kind of
Kevorkian?
thing. Kevorkian.
They went Kevorkian.
Would you do that?
No, never.
Well, what are your thoughts on it? Because I'm libertarian on this. I'm like, well, yeah, if they want to die and it's like they're not killing themselves, like, who cares? You want to kill yourself too? I don't fucking care. But if you have a doctor do it, let's say you're in like, the people that do this are like, they're dying. They're like terminal cancer. They don't want to live, or they just got diagnosed and they know they got a couple days left and they're like, we want to go out dignified. I just finished my bucket list. I fucked like 30 whores. I'm ready to go now. Whores. I mean, what do you think? Is that, they don't get into heaven, do they? They didn't kill themselves. They had someone else kill them. So technically they can still come in, right?
Well.
And if they go, I believe in God, I submit to God right on their deathbed, right before they take the shot to kill them.
Well, first of all, just saying it doesn't mean
suicidal.
It's not like saying it before you die is like a magic spell that covers you.
You told me. That's all I had to do.
No.
I told you on my deathbed.
That's never what
I
I
had
told
to
you.
do is say, my man, Jesus, I love you.
Time, depending on this like little
sentence
before he goes out.
Well, hey, it's the last episode.
Take me, God.
Now you're bringing this to me now? We could have been doing.
Well, I was waiting for your deathbed, but shit, but this is the last episode.
He's trying to confuse the man.
No,
He's like, take me, God. He's like, wait
it
a
isn't
minute.
like a fairy dust that you sprinkle on yourself before you die. It's faith. Faith in Jesus is what saves you. That's it. You know, the profession of it, what Scripture says is, if you believe in your heart and confess it with your mouth that Jesus is the Lord, you will be saved. Romans, I think like 10:8 or something. So it isn't the words. If they're empty words, then it doesn't matter.
Let me ask you this. So I didn't get into Austin Police Department because of my prior experience with drugs, right?
What were they?
Well, I admitted, like when you do the questionnaire, which they're going to make you do a polygraph test, they ask you what kind of drugs you've done, or, just things that would make you not be able to be a cop in the future. I was like, yeah, I've done them all, right? Just about everything, but I haven't done any of that in a long time, and I know the style. You want that kind of guy working for you, that knows it's in, hasn't done it in a while, so that you could, they know the
like,
people, they may be able to get in.
He's going to see that white powder and jump right on it.
Yeah,
he
that's what they fear.
So
they think, oh yeah, this guy that I never really did.
We have evidence, cocaine evidence missing in the room.
It's like I've done it.
He's like, I'm sorry, this is powder donut.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that I still do it, but like, wouldn't you want that person as a cop that knows about the criminal element?
You'd be tempted to take. You might be tempted.
Well, it's almost like these tech companies who hire hackers to see if they could break through their systems. You know what I mean?
That being said, you want that guy in heaven.
Do I though?
You want that guy that's lived a fucking terrible life so that he can go up there and go like, holy fuck, I should have been here though. I should have been rolling this fucking time. But then all those cool people all those heaven angels who were really good and like didn't really live life. I mean, they live life, but not like this guy doing heroin all the time, right? Yeah. And they're like, dude, so now they got someone interesting to talk to up there.
Well, there is someone like that in heaven. So in the Bible, there's the thief on the cross. The thief on the cross, there's two.
There's a guy up there, thief on the cross? Oh, you've told me this story.
Yeah, there's two guys who are crucified with Jesus. One of them is like, hey, if you're really the Son of God, get us off the cross, like show us your power. And the other one is like, hey, like he tells the other guy, shut up. Like, we're here because we did crimes. He's innocent. And he tells Jesus, remember me when you enter your kingdom. And Jesus says, today you'll be with me in paradise. Now, that man did nothing other than tell Jesus, I believe who you say you are, right? You say you're the Son of God. Remember me when you get in your kingdom. And what does Jesus say? You have faith. You believe. So he didn't do anything miraculous to receive salvation. He just told Jesus, I believe you are who you say you are. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. It's not like this magic
but did
phrase
he actually believe? I mean, he's about to die. I mean,
well, Jesus
hey man,
Jesus
this guy
says,
does sound like he's
you
real.
you're looking for something. You gotta believe in something. Like when you're going, you're like, fuck, if it's it's real, I
Yeah.
want to go there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean,
Because
that's-
otherwise, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, I think you would have to be strong in your belief against
Mhm.
to then say that at the last minute and
Yeah.
like nothing happens.
So what you're saying is that it's cool to do the thief on the cross thing.
And that's not what I'm saying.
You're saying it's acceptable.
I mean, God's the one who judges, not me.
Yeah.
I'm
so
ju-
you're
I'm,
just, yeah, okay,
I'm
I'm
just,
with you.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying it isn't out of the norm.
So assisted living. I mean, assisted suicide.
Well, I'm not for it because I believe in miracles, right? So who's to say that this person who has cancer that doesn't want to live, what if that person has a miraculous experience and he gets healed or whatever it be, you know what I mean? Or what if he was meant to run into a person that he was going to have a conversation with that was, you know,
just one
like,
more day,
yeah,
you would have ran into the guy who had the cure.
well,
The magic.
you know,
This is why they have mandates.
yeah, well, it's
That's why they have
also
vaccine mandates, because they're like, well, what if? If we live in ifs and buts, we'd
Mm-hmm.
all go fucking goddamn nuts.
yeah, but what I mean is, who are we to say, right? And
Right.
who are we to say my life doesn't matter? You're not the one that gave you your life. You know what I mean? This was given to you. Again, as a Christian, I believe God has given us life. So
His semen runs through your body.
sure, yeah, you
That's
can
right.
say. I
God's
mean,
semen
It's
is
an
playing
honor.
ACL.
well, I would say through everyone's, right? Because the Bible says we're made in His image, so we all bear the image of God. You know, that's the imago Dei in Latin. You know, the image of God, and we all have it. It's a little dirty, right? It's broken because of sin.
Broken
but
semen.
It's broken semen. But with Jesus, Jesus makes it whole. And that's where it's like even the thief on the cross, you see somebody who was being convicted and tried for a crime that he did do, and even though the world was judging him as guilty, Jesus has said you're innocent. And that's where the gospel is. Like, it doesn't matter who you are or how dirty you are. If you believe if Jesus is who He says He is, you will be saved.
And that was a preview of the new show on Emergency Exit Network. It's Bible study with David. Exactly.
The daily gospel.
Exactly. Bible study. I don't know. We can work on a name. We can work on a name.
Yeah, you just tell us a capiche.
But yeah. I mean, and that's something I even said that I was going to be working on and you know, trying to do more of. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening on
I
this
know.
network, and
And a
Emergency
lot of
Exit
people
Podcast.
can use that. They could use a little bit of that. People could use a little bit.
I sure hope
I
so.
find it fascinating. I am no Christian, nor do I believe in that stuff. But like, I find it fascinating because that's where like we've come from. That's where America, the values of the founding fathers were Christian values, and Christians are good people in my eyes. I mean, yeah, maybe some of them can be pretty judgy, but you know, they've lost track of like what they're supposed to be doing, and you know, and we're all in a fallen state after all. So you got to forgive them for having good meanings or good intentions.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with the people on the left. They have great intentions. They want people not to be homeless. They want people that are poor to have money.
Yeah.
They come from a good place.
Yes.
It's just not well thought out. And that's okay.
I agree.
And we fall into this trap thinking that they're evil. And I don't think that. I don't think Jimmy was evil. I just think he's just, you know, he's dumb. Like, he thinks I'm dumb.
Misinformed.
I don't know
Out
if
of
it's
touch.
misinformed, because he thinks that too about me. Like, imagine what they think about you, and we need to keep doing that. Like, they think we're idiots because we voted for Orange Man
Yes.
bad.
But the thing is, just because we think they're misinformed and we're right, it doesn't make them thinking that we're misinformed, them being right. You know, there has to be a right. If
Yeah,
not,
especially if we have the document.
yeah, that's what I'm
We
saying.
have the
That's
document.
what
We
I
have
mean.
like
It-
the live video of this happening.
yeah.
And you're telling, like, them reporting, like, mostly peaceful protests. And there's
It's a
like,
fire in the back.
literal fire
Now,
in the back.
Examples like that I get, but when we say, like, they think they're doing good, think of Thanos. Like,
yeah.
he thinks he was doing good. Like, he goes,
Population
this is
control.
going to be good for people. Like, that's his thing. But to other people, it's evil. Same thing goes with Nazis. They think that eliminating all the people that aren't white is a good thing, and they think it's good. They're doing good. So good is subjective. Good and evil is subjective. That's the bottom
But
line.
and every case is not the same.
Well, we can all agree murder is not good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Murder is not good.
But murdering
Neither
a murderer
assisted.
is murdering a murderer good.
Well, yeah, eye for an eye.
Makes everyone blind.
No, but I mean that's a biblical principle. Is eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, this for that. If somebody takes your life or you know the life of someone in your family, they're due justice, and justice, especially even with witnesses, to say he did the crime. You know what I mean? Within 2 or 3 witnesses, things will be done. So I think murdering a murderer, that's what justice is stopping injustice. Because the act of murder on someone is injustice, and the just thing to do is end that injustice. You know what I mean?
Yes. And great point. What do we got here? 9:05. All right. So we got 10 minutes. I want to put this video on. This we got Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci. It's a good one too, by the way, and it's a little off the beaten path, but still within the realm here. He goes on a conservative talk show. Isn't that weird? He went on a conservative talk show.
Oh, I like this clip.
Fauci.
This is a great clip, and it's the middle one there. Mr. May, he's already got it going. This is such a good clip because it shows, like, and he goes and talks about the noble lie. Remember how we always talked about Fauci? Like, he lied to us. And people go, no, he didn't lie. The science changed about masks. You're like, no, it didn't. It's always been the same.
He wrote the paper on it.
He fucking said to everybody that there was a paucity in masks and we had to lie so that you guys didn't fucking use up all the masks.
Yes.
But then like a week later they said cloth masks and bandanas were fine. So what is it?
And then he said, now most recently, he's like, it doesn't matter, just wear a mask. That's what those are his words.
So that's called now the noble lie because he'll admit that he lied. And that's why people don't trust him today. And this conservative co-host or conservative host asked him, like, if you're seen as someone who can't be trusted, shouldn't you resign? Because people aren't getting the vaccine because they know you lied. You actually did lie. And you see Fauci kind of like not disagreeing because he knows he fucking lied.
Wow.
Check out this video right here. Right, Chow.
The virus. Good morning, Dr. Fauci. Good to see you again.
Good morning, Hugh. Always good to be with you.
This is about the half-dozen time you've been on, and I always get the same reaction. Portion of my audience loves you. Most of my audience doesn't like you, Dr. Fauci. You know that, but you come on, and I appreciate it. I would like to begin with two objective things. Kyrie Irving and other major stars in the NBA refuse to get vaccinated. They suggest there's a lot of things wrong with the vaccine. Would you speak directly to Kyrie about the damage he is doing by spreading vaccine lies?
He is a flat earther, and I don't fucking care about him.
I mean, Hugh, I think you have to put it into perspective of what is going on in the country with regard to COVID-19. The now, inching close to 700,000 deaths, with a vaccine that unequivocally, from a scientific and public health standpoint, has been shown to be highly effective and safe. And although I do respect people's individual rights to make their decisions, there is also a part of it, Hugh, that is what I refer to as societal responsibility. And although there are individual choices that people can make, when you're dealing with a deadly pandemic, you've got to also understand your responsibility to the society within which you live. So I wouldn't want to be pointing a finger at this young man, but I would hope to be able to get him to understand that by allowing the virus to infect you, even though as an individual you say, I'll take my own chances, I don't care, I'm young, I'm healthy, the likelihood that I'm going to get a serious disease is low, which is true. You can't deny that. But what happens is that when you do get infected, it's very well likely that you might pass that infection on to someone who would suffer very terribly from that virus. So you don't want to be a vehicle for the propagation of an outbreak that unequivocally has devastated society. That's what I would appeal to, his feeling.
But Doctor, he does more than that. Kyrie and some other NBA stars put stuff online that suggests that the vaccine is dangerous, that it could hurt you. So you need to speak to them directly. It's not pleasant. What do you say to basketball stars?
Well, you tell them that it's untrue. I mean, the fact is, these are people, they're not stupid people. And yet they are somehow or other been convinced of things that are just not factual, Hugh. I mean, you look at the data. The data are overwhelming that these are highly effective and safe. And if you look at the track record of vaccines in general, what they've done for society and the benefit-risk ratio overwhelmingly weighs in favor of the benefit. And it's just factual. It's
just factual.
Sometimes it's inexplicable that people can look at data and just say it doesn't exist. I mean, it does.
Fucking who's saying that?
It's just factual. I'll come back to that in a second. I want to go to the panel. I got my booster on Friday. My wife and I, first day of eligibility, first day it was cleared. We're Pfizer people. We were on the wrong side of 65 when the vaccine came out. We were on the right side of 65 when the vaccine's booster came out. So we were first in line. We got it. We're happy. No side effects. Got the flu shot. All good.
Aborted babies in that
I
shot.
want to go back to the FDA panel and the CDC panel. And I'm sure you participated in both, their recommendation. I disagree with the recommendation. I think the booster should be available to any American who wants it, because this is a free country.
How long is this clip?
Equity issues entered into that conversation. We had advisory panel members
Holy
bring
shit.
their own politics to the
4
table
minutes in.
about international equity issues. Did you or anybody say to them, that's not your job? Your job is to make a scientific discussion about the booster, not tell us about international equity.
Well, Hugh, I didn't take part in addressing or discussing with those advisory groups because that would not be appropriate. But what I have done
Go
publicly
to 14
in
minutes and
multiple
45
forums,
seconds.
and
Looks like a
telling you
mouse.
now to confirm how I feel, I agree with you on this. This should have been a
I got the booster. I'm Mr. Vaccine. I get the same kind of heat you do. And
Right.
so what I'm saying, though, is there comes a point where it is simply a matter of fact that Tony Fauci in the era of social media is different than Tony Fauci at the beginning of HIV. And if a new face for the program developed, we would see an increase in vaccines and an increase in booster use. So if that data is presented to you, that more
Yeah.
people would get vaccinated if you left the scene,
Look at
would
the
you
pouch,
leave
just
the
like,
scene?
No.
Hugh, I think that is a completely false narrative that people are not getting vaccinated because of me. I am very sorry. I've told you, I've known you a long time and I respect you, but I totally reject that people are not getting vaccinated because of me. Are you kidding me, Hugh? Come on.
He sounded like
I'm
Sue
trying to
Crow.
explain to you the truth. I got vaccinated because of you, but there is a large segment of the American people that doesn't trust you now, and that can't be undone. So I want you to be able to just speak to them. I know your heart, I know your public service, but if you're an obstacle to getting vaccination rates up, should you step aside?
I am not an obstacle to getting vaccinations up, Hugh. That is a completely false narrative that I would have to absolutely reject.
Okay. Then if are you persuadable on facts? If people show you polling, would that change your mind?
Yeah, so people are saying I'm not getting vaccinated because Dr. Fauci is in the government. Are you kidding me?
No, actually, I believe that's the truth, Doctor. I believe
I
that
believe
given. Go ahead.
I'm
Show 'em
sorry,
the documents.
Hugh. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How do you
But
think
if there's
you're
data, will you
understood by-
resign?
I didn't see this part of it.
So yeah, he does not want to even accept that as a premise.
Yeah.
Like you can just be like, okay, yeah, sure, dude. Yeah,
you
if I
kidding
saw the
me?
fucking polls there and it said I'm not doing it because Fauci, yeah, I'll leave. But he's all like, I just don't believe it's a completely false narrative that you're trying to portray for the American public, and I think it's absolutely unequivocally incorrect, and you are wrong.
The data.
So we're gonna continue on the other side and just hang out for a little bit longer. This is it.
Through to the other side.
That's right. We've
Hey, hypothetically, for those tuning in late and maybe missed the big announcement, maybe just go over that again.
okay. If you guys just joined us or you joined us in the middle or something,
Talking to you, WPTX.
oh yeah, the Warrior Poet. We're done. Emergency Exit is on hiatus after this show. We may come on for once a month or something, but it's not the end of Emergency Exit. It's the end of Emergency Exit podcast for now. But there are going to be tons of new programming on the station, on public access. So don't you worry about it. Well, we will be back with more stuff. Not to mention, we'll have a new podcast with David hosting it, doing Exactly David, Exactly God.
Exactly.
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 With Zackley.
It's just gonna be a Z.
Z.
Exactly. And if you still want to get your political news, you can definitely tune into the Liberty broadcast.
You could.
You could.
You could if you wanted
could
to.
if you could. If you could, you could. But we're off the air on that anyway. So, thank you guys for watching. It's been another episode of Emergency Exit Podcast for Brandon O'Hara Mitchell, for Rachael Rae, for exactly David Aguilar. I'm saying that's it. Get a fucking hobby. All right, welcome to the other side.
Get a fucking
Welcome
hobby.
to the other side.
That's my second favorite quote from Lowe's. The first one is, "That's right."
That's right. Be cool, stay hip, get a fucking hobby.
That's right. That was a part of a song. Long
Okay,
ago.
so I wanted to talk about that 3.5 million thing and how I don't know how this is even able to be not just debunked everywhere, but when Bernie Sanders was like, "Oh, there's two keeping us." How can two senators stop 48 fucking senators
Bernie
from
math.
doing two? But he's not even considering the other people that said no on it. Well,
Yeah.
and you know what I was reading online is that on Twitter when people were responding goes, technically he's right because a state like California only has 2 senators but has way more population than like Wyoming or something, and they have 2 senators too. It's like that's not how voting works. You don't get a certain percentage. It's 2 senators from that state, 2 senators from that state got together, made a couple of senator babies. That's how
And then
how
aborted
laws are
them.
made. Senator babies.
Well, Bernie is an old man.
Yeah, and it's just I mean I saw that.
He's getting a little Biden syndrome.
But that's like that syndrome where you try to go, oh well, look at this, he done fucked up, and you're like, they're defending it. They're not going, yeah, that's a fuck up.
Yeah, because he's
that's
like,
a fuck up.
he's like, they fuck up all the time, so I'm just gonna say this shit. Doesn't make any sense.
Well,
That must be tiring for
they're
them.
not
Well,
gonna
no. At the
care.
end of the day, it's kind of it's kind of a backhanded argument almost, but it's kind of proves our point. Like that's what you do with the retarded kid, right? Like you let him do stupid things because like he just doesn't know better. You make excuses. You just kind of like, yeah, that's what they're doing with every single one of their the shit that they vote for or whatever goes on. It's like, yeah, but yeah, this and yeah that, and it's like, no. Again, accept the fact that shit is going wrong, right? Like I was even having this discussion with somebody that I know. I was gonna say a friend, but he's not really a friend. But just about like how, at least, and you kind of mentioned it, at least on the Republican or the middle side, there is a debate on, okay, like they're voting differently on different things. With the Democrats, and I brought up things like with AOC, how they just voted for Democrat stuff even though they knew it was wrong, right? And they didn't stand up for what they knew was right. They just fucking voted with the D, you know what I mean? And at least Republicans have a conviction. They say, I can't do it. You know what I mean? Or the people in the middle would say, the libertarians would say, I can't do it because you're not convincing me. There isn't an argument there. You just want me to say yes to make you feel better, and that's not what we're going off of. You know what I mean? But with the Democrats, it's like, okay, we're all Democrats. We're all going to vote the same, and that doesn't bring anything. You know what I mean?
see what happens whenever they don't vote the same.
Yeah, there's like this little...
You're getting chased into the bathroom and...
That part, and Biden was asked about it, and he goes, yeah, it happens to everyone except for me. That's basically what he said. Yeah, but but I don't approve of it, but it happens, except for me because I have Secret Service. He goes, well, unless it doesn't happen to people who have Secret Service around them.
Exactly.
I tell you what. He also did this thing. That last link, can you pop it up since we're on Biden a little bit? Biden mocks Fox News and then gets caught in a false statement.
Uh-oh.
This comes from the Daily Wire.
Uh-oh.
That's right.
The fucking Nazis.
But on Thursday, Biden got caught making false statement as he mocked Fox News while he spoke in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, regarding vaccine mandates. Biden said, this I always get a kick out of. He leaned forward and whispered in the mic, Fox News requires vaccinations for all their employees. And he's like stoked by it because his mandate said if you have over 100 employees, you have to do what?
Yeah, you have to get
the vaccine.
vaccinated.
Or
Or you have to do like a weekly COVID
exactly.
test.
So that's not requires vaccinations. That was too much for CNN fact check. CNN fact checked this one. Okay, this is how shitty you did when you got fact checked by CNN.
What?
Who had to do this? And the fact checker's name is Daniel Dale, mild mannered Daniel Dale. I think he's like a superhero at night. I don't know, but the 2 Ds throw me off there. He tweeted, quote, "This isn't true. Fox News doesn't require vaccinations for all employees. Rather, Fox Corp said in September that it would require unvaccinated employees to submit to daily testing. It doesn't dismiss them for refusing to get vaccinated. And Dale added, Biden's own federal policy, companies with 100-plus employees, is be vaccinated or get tested at least weekly. So he can fairly say Fox News already goes beyond what he's requiring. But Fox News requires vaccination for other employees is false. And the lie detector determined that was
a lie.
false.
Yeah. That's funny. I'm sure that guy's going to get fired.
Oh, I don't know, man.
No way.
You don't think so?
Uh,
We'll see.
you never
Biden's
know.
penchant for lying
You
has a
never
long
know.
history. He lies. He's a big liar.
Yeah, of course
As
he
The
is.
Hill noted in an op-ed in May 2020, a video making the rounds is Biden boasts at a 1987 rally. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship with Corn Pop. Ended in the top half of my class. Biden also maintained that he, quote, graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and was the outstanding student in the political science department. None of these claims are true. Washington Post referenced Biden's story in 2019, which he bragged that a 4-star general asked him when he was vice president to travel to Kunar province in Afghanistan to honor the courage of a Navy captain, and Biden had dismissed the concerns about the safety of such trip. Biden boasted that he said, quote, we can lose a vice president. We can't lose any more of these kids. Not a joke. He's been saying that a lot lately. Not a joke.
Not a joke.
Like, it's like people that go, be honest with you.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like, I'm
so,
not going to lie.
Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not going to lie. Okay.
But like,
I'm not going to lie, Los.
I hate when people say that because okay, so
Every other time.
what were you just saying then? Is that a lie?
That's pretty good.
If you do not preface your sentence with "I'm not gonna lie," does everything you say after that become a lie? Maybe.
Anyways, and our article just goes in and talks about more of the stuff he lied about. The Navy captain, Biden recalled Friday night, had rappelled down a 60-foot ravine under fire and retrieved the body of an American comrade, carrying him on his back. Now, the general wanted Biden to pin a silver star on the American hero who, despite his bravery, felt like a failure. He said, "Sir, I don't want the damn thing," Biden said, his jaw clenched and his voice rising to a shout. "Do not pin it on me, sir. Please. Sir, do not do that. He died. He died." Biden told his audience, "This is God's truth. My word as a Biden." The Post commented, except almost every detail in that story appears to be incorrect. Based on interviews with more than a dozen U.S. troops, their commanders, and Biden campaign officials, it appears as though the former vice president has jumbled elements, at least 3 actual events. So he's jumbling a bunch of things together. Into one story of bravery, compassion. That's what politicians do. He's a politician. And that's another thing I didn't get about why they hated Trump so much. It's like, no wonder other politicians hate him. Like, imagine, like, you work really hard at this company for a long time, 40 years plus, right? Some new guy, never even done the job before, he's your boss now. When you were probably trying to be boss. And they were like, no, you're not good enough. And you're a vice boss at one point.
You're a vice boss.
Imagine that. You come in.
You're close to the boss.
Like, that's what the politicians, Schumer, fucking Pelosi, they hated that guy, not only because he's not, he was former Democrat, but not only he's Republican, but just because that's my job. I should be fucking president. And then they're all sour, entitled fucking assholes who think,
And everybody
everything needs to be
loved
handed
Trump, man. Everybody loved Trump prior to
So much
his,
fun. So much fun
He
that
was
guy was.
he was on Oprah. He was on all the late shows. He was on. Everybody loved him, and they were like, "What do you think? Are you gonna be running for president?"
Yeah, rappers would rap about him.
Yeah.
Can you look up a clip, and I think you need to look at it this way, moved on her like a bitch, Trump. Like, they put that in, moved on her like a bitch. And he talks about how he took a woman to, like, a furniture store, and, like, how he, like, acted like a little bitch to get in her, like, pants and shit. Like, this is, like, Trump, like, classic Trump, like, old school Trump. Because you hear it in his voice. He sounds a little bit more, less, like, believe me, I've got it under control.
I think that these, like, grab her by the pussy or, like, this move on her or acted like a bitch or whatever these things are, I'm not saying that they're okay for people to say, but I'm going to say that I have heard a lot of guys talk this way. I mean, guys that go to church, guys that, you know, like they slip, they get too loose, and then they say something that they usually probably don't say, maybe, or maybe they say it all the time and not in front of these people all the time. But I've heard guys say things that are really inappropriate, but they say them, and
a
I'm
lot
not
of rap music.
and I'm not like, you know, all up in arms about it.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. Well, and I think that's even when it comes to social media and everybody having a phone in their camera. I think that's kind of revealed a lot about a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, even looking at Project Veritas and how they do a lot of their undercover stuff.
Yeah.
Like you could just have your phone out recording, and people are just oblivious. You know what I mean?
But that's what Trump was good at, is like he turns into whoever he's around, or, you know, because he wants to be that cool with you that he's willing to change, like,
he's
his demeanor. Yeah, for somebody else.
Well,
just
I mean,
in that moment.
I think even the fact where did you go to, like North Korea or whatever, and when he walked over the fucking thing, was it North Korea? Am I getting it right?
Yes.
Just even that, like I remember looking at that, I'm like, this is a historical event, and the media just wanted to speak ill about it. You know what I mean? They wanted to twist it in a negative way. But like Trump was trying to bring peace.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He tries
like
to get along with everybody.
Yeah, and like that's just because that's not what you see with Biden. Like nobody really respects the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, he's like all over little kids and stuff. He's always doing some. He's saying a bunch of weird things. He's not showing up when he should show up, and he's showing up whenever he really shouldn't show up. And he's smelling babies.
He walks into random places where he's not supposed to fucking
around,
be.
You know,
he calls fucking his wife, his sister. You know, he's old.
Like when Jill was talking on the stage at that kid's school, and he's just like wandering around behind her.
He bit her finger on stage. Remember that?
It's so crazy.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying how did
now do the same thing with Trump?
No. What I'm saying is, how do you?
Man, Trump would never do that.
I'm just saying, like with Biden, how were people blind to all his faults, mistakes, everything? Like he's not a good person, you know. Like there's speeches of him saying very.
Oh, it's from the Pussy tapes. So, sorry if I'm like jumping into this, but I've been looking for that where he talks about moving on her like a bitch. But this is from the Pussy tape, the Billy Bush tape, when he goes, I did try to fuck her. She was married. Like this is Trump talking like a man right here. He goes, he's describing how he took her out furniture shopping to win her over. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. She was married. Then all of a sudden I see her now. She's got the big phony tits and everything. She totally changed her look.
Who is he talking about?
Just some woman he tried to like get on, you know, like his infidelity. This is like a reason why people go like, look how he talks. Like this guy is not. This guy's not.
Mic anybody up
to be
and
president.
you'll.
Not fit for president.
Yeah. I mean, mic anybody up. Literally, what we see, what Biden shows us on live TV, imagine behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny,
Put
too.
a mic on him.
Like, the stuff that Biden has openly said about racial jungles and white kids being...
Oh, yeah, about how he didn't want to go to school with black kids and stuff.
He didn't want his children going to a racial jungle.
Obama being, what, like, he's a smart one.
Articulate and clean. It's like, oh man, I've seen a lot of African Americans, but this one's clean and articulate. Like that.
This one can speak.
It's so crazy.
They don't know how to work computers.
Or
they don't know how to get to the whole voting thing.
Kids stroking his leg hair. It's like, come on, man. Well, you don't got to say that shit.
I've got to use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. Yeah, it's like a magnet. Just kiss. I couldn't even wait. Then you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab 'em by the pussy. You can do anything. Grab 'em by the pussy. At some point, people believe that he said, I've been grabbing chicks by their pussy. Like, and I'm reading the transcript right here.
They took it down. Down.
When you are a star,
it was just fuel.
They let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
The context.
Doesn't sound great. Now imagine Harvey Weinstein saying that.
He's saying, for example, Harvey Weinstein's hidden tapes are like, I just grabbed her by the pussy and she was a child.
You guys are not listening.
R. Kelly.
No,
it's like a magnet.
Yeah.
I just kiss. I don't even wait. And you got to have the eerie music behind it.
But these are like...
It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait.
It's like a Jeffrey Dahmer.
I grab him by the.
He's talking about like older women, or probably of age, I'm sure.
Groupies.
Yeah, groupies, little
Yeah,
people that are at the
fans,
events and stuff.
The ones that snuck in, got backstage somehow, and now.
And somehow they've gotten themselves alone with Donald Trump.
It's exactly what you wanted, or
Which
what
is
they
what
wanted.
they
Well,
wanted.
and it's funny because then you look at someone, again, it's always funny when you just kind of compare, the Trump and Biden, because it's like, well, then you have someone like Hunter who is buying hookers for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Who cares?
It's just like, because that's the fucking vice president and the president.
Yeah.
They're children. They're children.
That too.
Mostly.
Wait, what children?
If he bought a bunch
How
of
old were they?
hookers and he had sex with them, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm like, whatever, dude. Like
Wait, Hunter Biden's having sex with children?
You didn't hear from me, bro.
Like how young?
Hunter Biden, like the photos that have come out on the laptop of him with these like little tiny kids, like he's like they
Chinese,
blur their
Asian.
face out, but it's a child's body, and he's standing there and like naked,
Yeah, it's weird. Bro.
like butt naked.
Well, I haven't seen it.
So-
I won't comment on it, but
Well, yeah,
Isn't that something you want to see?
yeah, it's not something
Yeah.
you want to see.
I mean, how old? Like, I'm asking you, like, age-wise.
These are from like a child, like a 7-year-old,
Well,
like a 9-year-old, like a 6-year-old.
look, if somebody that's very much on the left, like Harvey Weinstein, can get in trouble for sexual things like that, and if this is real, why?
How long did it take him?
In the era that we have now, it took zero time. But in the era that it existed, people weren't speaking up because they had something to gain from that shit. Like, right? The women that let them get taken advantage of, because they did let themselves
Yeah,
get
yeah.
Advantage of because they thought,
Because they
what?
wanted these other things.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I mean, but we even see something like
They
that.
let you do it. You can just grab them by the pussy.
But true. But it's different when with kids, because that's even something you see with Jeffrey Epstein. Like how deep that went with kids and with minors.
Yeah, it had been years and
Yeah.
years and years and years, and he paid off one of these situations with a child.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't even have been.
Well, and the thing is, there's so many people's hands who are dirty who don't want to be caught that it gets buried even more. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's like with someone like Harvey Weinstein, you're not digging deep. It's just you banged a bunch of models and you banged some actresses. Okay.
And they're pissed off about it.
Yeah, but
later.
when you go into something that's more nefarious, like kids, like that shit goes deep to where like Eyes Wide Shut, man. That movie
Yeah,
is
that's a movie.
that movie fucking spoke some truth, dude.
You mean that documentary?
No, I'm just saying. The fact that they cut out the actual ending right after he fucking dies. Like it's again,
It's Bohemian Grove.
there's that.
It exists. How can it exist? How can this thing exist? It's because the people that are going and that are a part of it can't say anything.
Yeah.
Now. It's like you become a part of this crazy.
Why can't they say anything?
Why hasn't Hunter been charged for any of these? That's why there's so much outrage.
Well, from what I
we're
understand,
living in-
I haven't seen these child photos that you keep speaking of. I have seen the pictures of him holding like a phone, wearing a scarf, and being naked. I've seen the crack pipe in his mouth. All stuff that's like big fucking whoop. I mean, if I do see that, maybe I'll join you, but I haven't seen anything. And I watch a lot of stuff too. I'm not like in the dark here.
Well, and just even with that, the frustrating part about that is also when it comes to the whole Ukraine thing and the Russia thing.
Yeah,
The
that
ti-
part pisses
right,
me
well,
off.
no, but not just that, but the time that he was supposed to be doing all this stuff, working for them, when you cross-reference the dates, he was smoking crack with hookers and being hung over and losing laptops.
My man.
So it's like, okay, was he working or were you paying him because he has the Biden name, which is what we've been saying all along? And are we proven right? Therefore, why the fuck is this guy our president, and why the hell has this guy not been arrested? Right? They found a gun what was it, his girlfriend or he threw in the fucking trash, and it's super illegal because he wasn't supposed to have it because of his fucking drug use and all that kind of stuff. And they hit that, and the FBI hit that. They've had the laptop.
Did they
since, what,
find the
2008?
gun on him?
No, he threw it in the trash because him and his girl were having an argument. And I think she threw it in there, or he threw it in there because she was afraid that he was going to use it. And they ended up finding the gun, and it's his. And nobody talks about it.
How'd they know it was his gun?
The fucking serial number.
That's not how guns work.
When you purchase it,
Have you ever bought a gun before?
Yeah, that,
I'm-
my cousin,
Obviously you haven't.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah, obviously you haven't
my
bought one.
cousin told me, he was like, keep this paper, never lose it when I bought my gun. And he was like, this is saying that this gun belongs to you, this paperwork. Like, you better not lose it.
Well, yeah. If you own, like, let's say I have a computer like right here, and it comes with like a serial number piece of paper.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that has that.
Yeah.
Don't lose it, because if you lose this, you're the only one that contains
Well, if
that
it gets
number.
stolen,
If it gets stolen,
Or it gets stolen,
you're
yeah.
also the one that owns it. And if someone else has your gun or something, you can be like, I own this. I never gave it to anybody. Of course, they may.
Well, Google
investigate
it.
to see if that's
Google it
true.
real quick. It'll take a quick search. No, just because I don't remember the facts about it. But it's just, Hunter Biden's gun found in a garbage.
Well, see, I can go with all that stuff, but I'm like, okay, we gotta like think logically here. Like, how did they know it was his gun? Was there fingerprints, or were when you say serial number? I'm like, no, that doesn't work that way unless he has to get it registered. Which, if it was illegal, he wouldn't be able to register it, right?
No,
So,
well, I don't even know if it was illegal. I think it was.
because some states do have to, you do have to
Yeah.
register for guns.
The whole. I
Those are
remember
the most tyrannous
Well, I remember the
fucking
whole issue was that he
states.
ended up buying it or something like that when he was not
My
able
internet's
to
not
because of
working,
his
so
drug use or something like that. Like he was not supposed to own a gun.
So when you go buy a gun, you fill out a piece of paper and it asks you some questions, and one of them is,
Yeah,
do you
you're-
do illegal drugs? And everybody that has bought a gun that's done illegal drugs has always said no, because as soon as you say yes, they go, thank you, we can't sell you a gun. Because if you say yes on any of these questions, that's an automatic fail. Do you do marijuana? You go, oh, of course not, right? So that's what they're probably talking about, is that he wasn't even able to own a gun in the first place because
he has drug charges.
Well, not just that, because at the time
he's currently using drugs.
Well, no, at the time he was out of rehab. If somebody is publicly known to be out of
Yeah.
rehab, you don't
Well, yeah,
question.
they have-
you
you-
don't
you
question
can't-
whether or not this guy
he
had
can't
drug use.
lie about it.
Yeah, it's like, what are
know?
you talking about? There's fucking articles about you being in rehab. What do you mean you don't use drugs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it was out in the open.
So
Let's see.
here's one picture, but it's I don't know where there's a normal size pictures and more than this.
You guys believe that to be like an actual photo? Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm skeptical.
Well, I mean,
but like,
it was released with these photos.
who released that stuff?
Whoever released the pictures from his laptop.
shouldn't-
Whoever
shouldn't we-
found the laptop.
Which
the
I
guy
get that.
turned it in.
Is
Right.
he biased at all? Do you know
The
anything
guy who
about
got
Well, it
the
doesn't matter whether or
laptop?
not it's biased.
it? Does matter. How about that Facebook whistleblower? Does it matter if she's biased or not?
Which one, the Veritas one or the one on?
The fake one that's up that all the media
Oh,
is
the
fucking.
one-
Oh, I love this. Oh yeah, Facebook. Like, listen, that's important to know these kind of things,
Yeah.
whether or not that they're biased or not. We don't know anything about this guy. There are some reports that this
Well,
guy
there's multiple photos.
is from the one guy from the
From the
laptop,
laptop, yes.
right? Which I can get that if he's a laptop technician or whatever, he can get these kind of things, and whether or not he gave them to somebody else, because he gave that.
Well, he
said
turned
he gave,
it in.
Yeah, he turned it in, but he kept the copy to himself.
Right. So is he the one who released that? And what is his bias?
Oh, okay. Well,
Because that's the stuff we need to know. And like, I'll go with you if it's all true, but like, we all need to have more skepticism about that kind of stuff.
but what do you mean?
I wouldn't about an actual photo of
Yeah,
him
that's what
with
I'm saying.
the
What do
baby
you-
and he's naked.
what do you mean?
I don't care who gives it to me. Donald Trump can give it to me, or Biden, or whoever can give it to me. If I see a picture of a grown man, no matter who he is, with a child naked, that's
Yeah.
just no.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what do you mean by
Regardless of how
the
I got a hold
bias?
of the photo, it's just like this photo exists. That means this happened because there's a picture of it.
Yeah, like, did you mean that the photo was photoshopped?
Well, I don't know what it is. I'm questioning it, as you guys should. 'Cause it sounds like you guys have taken it just in. Like, I'm going to take this and go.
Well,
okay.
we've seen it and have read. I have seen
Mm-hmm.
it and have read and researched multiple things. I didn't just find out about
But
it.
how can we
You
be
did.
certain that this is an actual photo? Can't we like go and observe like, okay, so there's this thing called Occam's razor. The simplest answer is always most likely the right answer. The right answer is he a pedophile, or did someone Photoshop that because they're against Biden? Hey, we got to go. So that was it. We were going to get more into it, but we have to get out of the studio. That was it for Emergency Exit Podcast. Thank you guys for 5 years, 222 episodes.
That's a good number to end on.
Yeah, man, fuck it. Why not?
At least a hiatus.
223s. All right, so till next time, Be cool. Stay hip. Get yourself a fucking hobby. Bye.